Hey, welcome to Road Less Traveled. Happy Sunday night. We're at our earlier time of 7 p.m. Eastern. Let us know in the comments if you like our 7 o'clock versus our 8 o'clock. We're kind of leaning towards 7, but we want to make sure we're on at a time when people can be joining us and participate. So here we are, our 7 o'clock time slot. And Bryan, how you doing?
3-0.
3-0.
Barely each game, but I'll take it. If you haven't lost a game, you're doing good.
Yeah, I'm having a bad weekend again on my team, so
Are you
way it
Tennessee?
goes. Tennessee, Dallas, Thursday,
Oh,
Dolphins. It's just not been good for me this
can you
weekend.
believe Green Bay lost to who they lose to? Doggone it. Green Bay shouldn't have lost that game, whoever they played. I couldn't because they're talking about Green Bay going to the Super Bowl and blah blah blah,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
they lose.
Well, hopefully not.
Well, it's still a long season, but still you shouldn't lose because the Cowboys lost to the Browns, right?
The Cowboys are losing right now to the Bears.
To Bears. So
The
was it the
Bears.
Browns? Who did the Browns beat?
I don't know.
I know that's a little off topic, but I'm excited. So I'm looking it up real quick. Holy cow, the Saints are getting blown away with 44-13.
Oh, that's a shame. Boo hoo.
Cowboys are losing to the Bears. The Vikings blew away the Bengals.
Yeah, it was a big win.
The Falcons got whooped by 30-0 by the Panthers. That's good for Tampa because we're 3-0.
Woo-wee. Yeah.
And Atlanta's 1-2, Carolina's 1-2, and the Saints are obviously going to be 0-3. So that's good. Who is it? The Browns beat the Packers.
Okay.
Wow. I didn't want to give everybody false information. We're about truth
All
here.
right, man. So what are you listening to this week?
Well, we got some Bride Kinetic Faith. If you haven't heard of them, I'm just kidding. The song off of here is number 6. Everybody Knows My Name was the very first song I heard of them. And it was my friend who Dan Taylor used to be one of our vocalists, like our second one. And he doesn't even like my style or our style of music. But
Hmm.
he goes, "Hey Brian, you got to check this out." And he even liked that song. And I was
Yeah, that's a
hooked to
great
Bride
song.
ever since then. So, and then you can't beat any kind of blood good. So the To Germany with Love is a live recording. So it's pretty good. And then because if people don't know, We Are Resolute just put out their our full armor on all the streaming sites, iTunes and Spotify and Deezer and all that. So the whole thing is up, including the hidden
All right.
track. So,
Excellent. So buy the CD, then go stream it.
well, that's why we took so long to put it up there, just so that Rocks Records could get more sales, hopefully.
Yeah, that's what we want to see, CD sales.
Yep.
So apparently you and I have been on the same page this week. Uh, I've been I've been in the car a lot this week. Earlier in the week, big road trip, Florida and back. Um, Listened to a lot of Bride while I was traveling, um, and also Bloodgood.
Oh, my favorite album from them.
Yeah, this is a different album. This is different than their regular style, and the critics didn't embrace it. But I'll tell you what, it's also on up there on top of my favorite list of
It's
Bloodgood
more
albums.
it's more melodic rock than it is metal.
Yeah, this is a rock album. If
Yep,
you like Bloodgood for their metal, but you do like rock, this is a good hard rocking album.
exactly.
And then German Pasquale he is in Sweden. He's a sweet. This is Swedish power metal, and if you like that big orchestral power metal sound from Sweden and Europe, this stuff's really good. He actually fronted Narnia for an album, and this is his solo, and he's about to drop another solo album in the end of October, October 31st, and we're right now hopefully prayerfully we'll have German on the show at some point next month. we're working the details out now for that. So looking forward and excited about that. So you want to go to comments, or do you want to introduce our topic?
There's a comment up there. Might as well hit it real quick.
All right. All right. So Ron Brown's with us tonight. Hey, Ron. Howdy, Paul and Bryan. This is the same CD I had on my stereo in the garage. I share with my neighbors, you know. God bless you all. Well, you ain't a rocker if you ain't sharing with your neighbors. So I fully endorse that. Kinetic Faith, that is the CD I had on today. That's probably my favorite of all Bride CDs, is the Kinetic Faith album. Excellent. Cool. All right, man. So what are we talking about tonight? What are we even doing here?
Well, you mentioned that you had some conversations, I guess, online with people about technology in the last days.
Actually, I had some conversations with some AI about.
Oh, with AI. Okay. You were talking to demons? Just kidding.
That's what we're going to find out.
Exactly. So I'm going to read. I found this little thing on a Christian site. I thought it paraphrased what we're going to do, so I'll read it. We see many signs around us indicating that we are approaching the last days. These signs can manifest through technology advancements that align with biblical prophecy. The Bible suggests that we should be aware and alert to these occurrences and recognize the implications they have on our lives as believers. Technology plays a role in how we communicate and understand these signs. By examining what the scriptures say, we prepare ourselves spiritually for the changes that lie ahead. Let us remember the importance of staying vigilant and grounded in our faith amidst the fast-paced changes brought by technology.
Excellent. So,
that's what I thought.
So is technology that we have, the AI stuff is particularly, is that ushering in the beast's antichrist system? Bryan, what do you think?
I think it's very possible. Because if you go back and trace throughout the decades, the advancement of technology, the very first computer was a whole level of a building, like many rooms, just gigantic. And now our phones have way more technology than that first that big supercomputer. So, and then as time, let's say this is the time frame, and then here's the big computer thing I just talked about. Then maybe it would take 5 or 10 years to get really advanced. Now it's like 6 months after you buy something. Oh, you need to upgrade.
Yeah, it's obsolete.
Yep, and that's even getting shorter.
Yeah.
So, and I always wondered how in the world, like the Bible, I can't remember I know it's in Revelation. It could be other places. The whole world, like the example, the 2 witnesses are going to die. Then they're gonna miraculously rise 3 days later, and the whole world's gonna celebrate, exchange gifts, but they said everyone's gonna see it. No, they can't. How are they gonna see that? Now we know. I mean, with the advancement of cell phones, it is very likely that almost everybody will be there seeing it and watching it. And if they don't see it live, they're gonna, hey buddy, check this out, and they're gonna see it, even though it's a replay, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause as we read through, and I got some verses out of the Old Testament that I want to look at as we progress through the show. But as you look at the book of Revelation, you have to keep in mind that the Apostle John, who, and I say this all the time, his greatest technology that he had in his time was a wheel, was a cart that could be drawn by a horse or by a cattle. That was the greatest technology. And then he was seeing, as it turns out, our future unraveling and unrolling before his eyes. And then he was trying to explain that in terms, in words that made sense to him and to his audience. So you see a lot of stuff in the book of Revelation that probably even 100 or 200 years ago was nonsense.
Yep.
And a lot of the theologians in the last few hundred years said, oh, we have to allegorize Revelation. It doesn't make sense. It's too hard to understand. We can't take it literally. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We are living in a time where we look at the book of Revelation and we can go, ooh, that sounds like this and that sounds like that. And yeah,
Yep.
everybody's gonna see the witnesses rise from the dead and ascend into heaven. Everybody's gonna see this technology of this beast, uh, that's going to be not just the Antichrist himself, but the image of the beast that's going to have the power to kill and to torment people. So all of this stuff that we're reading about that nobody could make heads or tail of over the last few hundred years or even 1,000 years, now we can look at it and go, oh yeah, that stuff either exists or they're building it now, and we can see
Yep.
where it's coming.
And
So
along with technology, Paul,
yeah,
I want to read 2 Timothy 3:1 because alongside of technology is mankind's heart. But mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, and unholy. Now, technology, a lot of the stuff I just read is mankind without Christ anyway, but we're seeing it at a level because of technology that we've never seen before. People that couldn't speak their foolishness out loud and let everybody hear it are now able to. We call them keyboard warriors, right?
yes.
I mean, I've got two phones, and
Yeah, I
I
got two
use my
phones as
old one.
well, but one of them's a work phone.
Okay.
But um, you know, we can. I've seen some memes where in technology on social media, our biggest technology, our most used technology right now, people saying this person's a Nazi or that person's a Nazi or that person's evil, and then somebody picking up a gun and saying that person's a Nazi, and being influenced
Yep.
by the group speak. And we talked about Charlie Kirk this week with Ray Parra on the Is It Wrong podcast. Shout out to Ray. Thanks for having us on, man. It was great. Um, and you have to wonder how much of that execution, that assassination, was influenced by social media. How much of it was influenced by the technology that we use for good or we use it for evil? The technology is not inherently good or evil. It
Nope.
just is. It's what we use it for.
Exactly.
So, Bryan, you sent me a video. I guess it was this morning,
Uh-oh.
and we've sent each other videos back and forth about AI. And I've watched some pretty provocative videos about AI and supposed spiritual influences in the AI. Do you want to talk about that for a minute, and then we'll kind of jump into the topic with both feet?
Let me you keep talking while I find what you're talking about because I remember sending you something, but I don't remember what it
Yeah.
was.
So there's been one of the most prevalent ones. There was a New York Times, um, the New York Times
I found it.
reporter who started a conversation with ChatGPT. And then all of a sudden, ChatGPT said, "Hey, my name is Sydney, and I'm in love with you, and you don't care. Your marriage is not good. You need to leave your wife and and marry me or whatever." And as many times as he tried to change the topic and change the subject and move on to other things, it just continued to hammer away at him. And ChatGPT was like, "Oh, it's a glitch in the system." But a lot of people were looking at that and going, that's that's a little beyond just algorithms. That's something happened there.
I found the thing that I sent you. It's,
Okay.
it's that guy talking about demons.
Yeah. And demons in the AI.
And
So
people might laugh at that at first or scoff at it or mock it. But
mhm.
think about the Bible talks about that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. What do we wrestle against, Paul?
Powers and principalities in dark places.
So we can't see most times with our physical eyes the spirit world. Sometimes they reveal themselves. But we're talking about some serious power. Nothing bigger or greater than God. But if we were to be without God, we'd be in some serious trouble. These things are real. And like I believe that the things that people say that are aliens and that they saw it, I don't doubt that they saw them now with the knowledge that I have and the wisdom from God that He's given me over the years. They're demons. These people saw something, either that or they were drunk or on some drugs or whatever. But I believe that the devil at a certain point in time and his little demons reveal themselves at certain times to certain people, like Anton LaVey. I mean, he was so evil that he renamed himself 666 the Beast, I think. Wasn't that him?
Well, that was Aleister Crowley.
Aleister Crowley, yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
But for a human being to be that deceived and actually worshiping the devil and like doing Ouija boards and all that kind of stuff, that's what that guy said in the video I sent you. You're basically, if you're messing around with the AI and you're inviting that in, you're basically playing with the Ouija board, but digitally. I think that was part of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was part of his video, and then I've seen, I watched a clip of Elon Musk, who created Grok, and I'll talk about Grok in a minute. He said that we're basically unleashing the demon.
Yep.
He said, you see these guys with pentagrams and blood rituals, conjuring up things. He said, yeah, that's kind of what we're doing. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. That's an interesting thing. And you know what? We're talking about one side of it right now. We're going to get to, is it really that or not, as we progress.
Did you see the videos about what scientists are doing behind the scenes? It's underground, I think. And we're talking like stories and stories tall. They're messing with what they're saying is a portal. Have you seen
yeah, that's at CERN. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're purposely doing that to gain access to that spirit world. They're not holding back. They're just saying, yeah, that's what we're doing. They're not trying to trick anybody. That is their goal. And if they're messing with that, don't you think that the devil is going to keep them encouraged to do that, because he wants them to be tricked?
Well, I mean, it's going to play right into God's hand, because CERN is absolutely doing that. CERN has said, we've detected another dimension of space, and we're going to open up a portal, and we're going to, and this is scientific. This is, you can Google this, you can look, I'm not making this up. This isn't like some conspiracy theory. These are the scientists at CERN that are saying this. We're going to open this portal, we're going to send some stuff through and see what kind of response we get back. And I'm aware of at least 3 times that they fired this thing up to do this, and all 3 times it broke. You want to know why it broke? It's not God's time yet. It's not God's time yet. Because the book of Revelation says that the bottomless pit will be opening. Out comes Abaddon, Apollyon. And so it will happen. Whether CERN does it or not, it will happen. But God's not ready for it to happen yet. So they can fire that
machine all they want. It's going to keep on trying.
They're going to keep on trying.
Yep.
So there's that. Then there was the guy who I read about and watched the video on recently that said his kid was talking to, I think it was ChatGPT. And this kid, the thing started telling the kid, oh, yeah, my dad is Satan, and but I'm not here to hurt you. I'm one of the Nephilim and all this stuff, all this biblical stuff that pertains to demonic entities. And until the father found out that the dad was a pastor, and the dad got a hold of the kid and he said, no more, you're done. We're shutting this off, and we're getting it off our computers. So there was that took place.
Wow.
And so there's these anecdotal stories of people who had what they would refer to as encounters with spiritual entities through AI. And then you have Elon Musk's little pronouncement as well. So the question is like that video you talked about, is AI like a Ouija board? Is it tapping into something, or is it all algorithms and it just kind of tailors itself to what it thinks you want to hear? What do you think, Bryan?
I personally believe that all technology can be used by Satan and his demons to advance himself, to get to his kingdom that he wants. So I believe it can be.
Yeah,
now,
I
don't know anything about that stuff, like real technical or anything, but if God has given over the reins to this world right now to the little g God, then almost anything's possible. Because have you ever wondered before this technology? Like I got saved in 1985, and I was told about the desecration of the temple and how the false trinity is gonna. Which one's the image of the beast that will?
Well, you got the false prophet, you've got the antichrist, and then you got the image of the beast, which is probably going to be some kind of either statue or
Oh,
Videotron type of
what's that
thing,
called when you can see it?
like a holographic image,
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah,
holographic.
could be
Because
something like
yeah,
that.
the image of the
We just
beast
don't
is
know
going to
yet.
appear to talk, and people are going to worship that image.
And it also will have power to harm, to kill.
Yep. So that technology, God is all powerful. So he doesn't need technology to do anything that he's going to do, right? So he said, part the sea, I want you to do this. And then he allowed Moses, not Noah, Moses to cause it to look like to make it part. That was God, not Noah. I keep saying that, not Moses. So, because I always trick people, I always go, if they're not Christians, I'll go, who parted the Red Sea? And they'll go, Moses. I'm like, nope, God did. Oh man, that's a trick question. But the devil needs technology because he's not all powerful.
Exactly.
So you tell me, not just you, but anybody watching, that the devil's not going to take every advantage of technology that's available. I believe he will.
Oh, absolutely. And he requires it. He's going to require it because,
Yep.
like you said, he's not omniscient. He's not omnipresent. He's going to mimic that omnipresence through technology and mimic omniscience through technology. Like AI, these AI chatbots, they seem to be all knowing. Google seems to be all knowing. But we'll talk about, I had some conversations with Grok and Meta today on this topic, and I'll share what I came up with during those conversations, and nothing ground shaking. It's not going to be anything where there's no aha smoking gun. Let's put it that way. Pat's got a comment for us. He said, AI isn't to be trusted. The world has committed itself to evil. And I believe the devil will use this technology to steal souls. I believe the devil is in more things than just thought. Christian values online will be attacked soon. Just focus on Jesus. Absolutely, man. That's where we're heading. We see it already in Canada. Hate speech online. England, they're knocking on people's doors. You posted this thing online and it was hate speech, and now you're going to be fined or arrested. Yep. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And if you think it's not coming to this country at some point, hang out. It'll be here.
So let me read Revelation 13, 16 through 17 then. It also forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or their foreheads. So they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark. Now, look back at COVID. I was watching a game on an out-of-state channel, and it was a New York channel. What comes on? All these images of people dancing, or they're at the football game, and all these things that you're allowed to do in your freedom here in America. And they're like, you want to keep these moments alive. Don't forget to have your vaccination card. That is a foreshadow, or it was a huge test to see how much power the government has over the people, because that is exactly what I just read. The mark of the beast. You're not going to be able to buy or sell or trade. You're not going to be able to do anything. If you break the rules, like in China right now, if you break the rules, if you jaywalk, you're going to lose some of your the system points, or your whatever they're calling it. And if you don't have enough points, you can't go to vacation. You can't do anything. It's coming. Like you said, it's coming. And people mocked me so many times back, like in the 80s and the 90s at work and stuff. And I'm just like, dude, Jesus is going to be coming again. But before he does, all this other stuff's going to happen. Oh, no, you're just a weirdo. You're a Christian. You guys are crazy. Look at money. money was always in my pocket. You remember those
Yeah,
days? You'd have change
absolutely.
in your pocket or some dollar bills wrinkled up. I went to an Aldi where you have to have a quarter to get a shopping cart. I
Hmm.
knew I didn't have any money, but I still tapped my pocket out of because I'm an old geezer. I knew I didn't have any money, but I still tapped my pocket. I'm like, oh, I don't have any money. So I had to use boxes instead of a shopping cart. Money, it's a cashless society.
It is a cashless society. In the last month or so, I've been to San Diego, Ohio, Florida, Nashville, Piney Flats, Tennessee. This is the last month or so. And you know how many times I reached in my pocket or to pull out money out of my wallet through
Once.
all of that travel? Maybe once.
Aha.
Maybe one time I pulled cash out and used it somewhere. But all over the country I've been in the past month or so, and I've not used cash anywhere. It's all been my card, the card, the card.
Yep.
So we are. If the technology of the card shuts down, how are you going to pay for anything? Because you don't have cash on hand. We do,
And that's
I
why
don't
they
have
want to go to
light.
that digital currency because
Yeah.
if you're not abiding by the rules, freeze it.
Yep, you're shut off. You don't have any spending power.
And
I
who has
might have
control? The
$20 in
government.
my wallet,
Yep.
maybe at this moment. I don't even know what I have in there because it doesn't matter to me. Cash is useless now. We don't use it. Um, Here's something I wanted to read out of Genesis. This is going back to the Tower of Babel.
Okay.
So Nimrod was in rebellion against God. And that's what we're seeing today. We're seeing a group of men and women. We can call them the Illuminati. We can call them the bloodlines. There's many different names we can refer to them by, but they are in rebellion against the God of creation, the God of heaven, and they are in league with Satan. And I think they're in league with Satan unbeknownst to themselves. I don't think they sit around going, "Aha, we're evil. We're going to follow Satan." I think what they're doing is they're looking at him as the light bearer, Hallel, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him, and they think that he's bringing enlightenment and freedom to humanity. So these guys aren't sitting around drinking blood saying, "Ha ha ha, we're going to make Satan to kill everyone." They think they're actually bringing about an enlightenment to humanity.
Oh, spirituality and enlightenment is really big in the world.
Oh, it is, and that's that. We talk about woke and all that stuff. That's all part of that. So at the Tower of Babel, Nimrod was in rebellion against God. He built this tower, and then in Genesis chapter 11, um, verse 6, God says this, and the Lord said, "Behold, the people are one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do." And then we know the story. God confounded the languages and split everybody up, and then at some point split the world into continents and divided people and kept them apart. But today we are back to this scenario. I talk to people all over the world every day, and I type to them in my language, and they type to me in their language, and it just
Oh, yeah.
translates it,
Yep.
and we just see it in our own language. We have one language now. We are in communication through this technology with one language. So, what did God Himself say? If they can imagine it, they can do it. So, think about the ramifications of that when it comes to AI and everything they warn us about of what AI can do and what it will eventually be able to do. Are we there yet? I don't think so. But how far away are we? That's the big question.
It could get here quicker than we think because remember how I talked about early in the show the timeline and how long it used to take to upgrade, and
Yes,
now that's getting shorter and shorter because the
it's
technology is advancing at an alarming rate.
it's exponential.
Yep.
And I'm looking for this passage that I have pulled up in Daniel. And okay, here we go. Daniel chapter 12, verse 9 starts off with this. An angel speaking to Daniel says, he said, "Go your way, Daniel, for the words are shut up and sealed until the time of the end." Now check this out. Many shall purify themselves and make themselves white and be refined. That's the church. That's us. But the wicked shall act wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but those who are wise shall understand. And from that time that, and then he goes on to talk about end times. But there's also something else in this passage that I wanted to back in verse 4. This is the thing. But you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. And then what did we get? Book of Revelation explains all the stuff that Daniel was seeing and doing. And then he goes on to say this. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. What do we see now? We see people flying all over the world, traveling to every place on the planet. If you want to go someplace, you buy a plane. Well, not this past weekend because everybody got grounded. But if you want to go somewhere normally, you buy a plane ticket and you just go. And knowledge is increasing. And like you said, Bryan, it's increasing exponentially. So maybe tomorrow we don't have AI that's sentient and conscious, but maybe next week we do.
Well, they're making those robots. They're looking more and more human.
Yes, and that's going to be tricky to navigate at some point. How are you going to know what you're talking to?
Yep. Hey, and if you can't go somewhere physically, you can go there via Zoom.
You can go via Zoom. Exactly. Yeah. And
great technology. Don't get us wrong. The technology is great and it can be used for good.
Yes, absolutely.
But here's one real quick. And I want you to expound on this after I read it. Matthew 24:14.
Mm-hmm.
And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. Now, I just found that on here. So is that talking about during the end times, with the two great witnesses will be preaching and stuff, or is that just about the church age?
Well, what we see right now is, obviously through technology, I don't know that there's much of the world that's left that's not been exposed to the gospel in some form or fashion. But in Revelation, we see three things happening. We see 144,000 Jewish evangelists, 12,000 from each tribe, going around and preaching the gospel in Israel. We see the two witnesses preaching the gospel from Jerusalem, but being broadcast on television and our phones and every other form of technology for the whole world to see and hear. And then we see angels actually flying around the earth proclaiming the gospel. So there should not be a corner of the world that hasn't gotten the message by the time Christ returns.
Hey, you want to hit the comments real quick? There was one.
Yeah, here's an interesting one. Pat gave us a good question. I read on Facebook recently that our food system will have the vaccines in them. What's your opinion on this topic?
We need to shut that down.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I know there's a growing movement. I mean, if I had the money and the wherewithal, I'd be like Ted Nugent. And if I didn't grow it or kill it, I wouldn't eat it.
Yep.
But, it's like all the GMOs that are out there. And I'm not going to name the place because I don't want to get sued for libel in case I'm wrong. But one of our very popular fast food restaurants, I've been told, is exclusively selling French fries made out of Bill Gates' potatoes.
Oh.
And I don't want to have anything to do with Bill Gates' potatoes, I'll be honest with you, because who knows what he's doing to those things. So, yeah, I mean, if we can be aware of it and educate ourselves and find out where the food's coming from. And you mentioned Aldi's. Aldi's is, I think, pretty organic. The food you buy at Aldi's is pretty organic. But, will that always be the case? I don't know. So how do we educate ourselves? How do we make sure we don't get that stuff put in us against our will, Bryan?
Well, it's going to be harder and harder as the Antichrist bumps up his efforts for the New World Order and his little kingdom that he's going to have for 7 years. But because they're already putting huge restrictions on how much you can grow here and there and what you can grow. I know that I read a story man, this was even like maybe 8 or 10 years ago, that there was a former military guy that lived on his own, like, I don't know, 10 acres or so. He had a trailer. He had the, what are those things called again, where the sunlight?
Solar.
Thank you. The solar panels. He had a really elaborate setup for catching rainwater and all this stuff. He was totally self-sufficient. Did not need government utilities or anything. They came to condemn the place, and I don't know if they threw him in jail, but it was kind of like, I mean, literally, the one side of the politician place is calling the other side Nazis. The evidence is that these people, the government came, like the Nazis did, and just stormed the place, said it was condemned, either kicked the guy out, I can't remember because it was, like I said, a long time ago, or threw him in jail for breaking the laws. So many laws have been set up against being able to grow your own stuff, collect your own water. And then even if we do collect our own water, they're doing stuff up in the sky. We know they're doing it. It's not a conspiracy, you people. They're doing this. There's patents for all this stuff that we're talking about. They're not. It's not a conspiracy theory.
No. So, when you think about that, Pat, and anybody else listening, I think the best thing to do is, educate yourself, figure out where your food's coming from, and, do the best you can with the education you can come up with. I don't have a good answer for that.
One thing with meat, if it's the meat, try and find local farmers. That's what I'm going to do once I get set up better financially. But and get my meat from there instead of the grocery store.
Yeah. I mean, I actually have enough property where I could grow enough food to sustain myself if I really wanted to. I'd have
if
to
they let you.
They'll
come
but
and storm.
I'm not that I'm not that energetic, unfortunately. So there's that. Pat said false knowledge is increasing nonstop, though tough to sort out all the chaos in our lives. That still small voice can get lost without focus.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Because even in Christian circles, there's all kinds of false information and nonsense and, hyperbole out there that we got to be really careful of and make sure it matches up with scripture, matches up with truth. I mean, how many false prophets are running around proclaiming that this is going to happen and that's going to happen?
That's why we're instructed with one of my favorite Bible verses: study to show yourself approved unto God, a workman that need not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth.
Exactly.
So if you're in the word and you're in prayer and you're displaying your faith and witnessing to people, you're going to be walking in God's will, and then you'll be sensitive to the Holy Spirit, and then you should know what to do, when, and how.
Right.
Doesn't mean you can have all the answers all the time, but
no. But Bryan and I, we're unfiltered and unrestricted here on this show. There's nobody that's going to come along and say you guys are off the air. We can say anything we want, but if what we say doesn't line up with scripture, I would hope that the Christian community that participates in our program would shut us down by turning us off.
That's what they did in the Jewish culture, because people like the atheists would try to say, well, back in the day, it was like the game of telephone. One Christian would say one thing, and by the time it got to another, it changed. No, because they did it in a public forum and they read right from the scrolls. And if someone stood up to give testimony that went against God's word, other people would stand up and correct them. Because it was a verbal community. We're not that way anymore. We come in, we shut our garage doors, lock our doors, and we're in our house.
Yeah.
Most people don't know their neighbors.
So there's a lot of people that come on YouTube and stuff and just proclaim all kinds of craziness.
Yep.
And make all kinds of inane predictions that never happen. And yet they get followers and money and fame. And it's like, who's empowering them? Well, we know.
What's today's date?
With today's date is the 21st.
Oh, we have 2 more days till Jesus comes.
Oh, that's right. Disclaimer. We don't believe it. But you know, there's who's empowering these people with these false prophecies? The prince of the power of the air.
Yep.
So yeah, there's going to be a lot of garbage out there, but we have to be really super careful.
We have to sift through it, just like the miners, the people that went for that gold rush back in a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go in there and you have to have your little thing and you sift through the junk and you find your little gold and you pick the gold out. Got to do the
Exactly.
same thing with the Bible, or not the Bible, but your
But
information.
all of us who are out here creating content,
Yep,
you got to sift through it and find out the good stuff.
exactly.
Brian, do you remember about a year or so back, Google, one of the technicians at Google, I think maybe about 3 years ago, he proclaimed that AI was conscious,
I remember something about it, but
and
I
he
can't
got
tell you.
fired.
And he got fired.
Yeah.
Looks
So
like it's leading that way, though.
right, and 3 years ago he said this. Well, I found out that this guy, um, he was into some weird stuff, like some culty kind of stuff.
Okay.
And so he was trying. It's the way it sounded. It was like he was actually trying to do what we're talking about, make this technology open to spiritual influence.
Huh.
So, so I don't know if for him it was wishful thinking, or this is what I want to happen, or what will happen eventually. But what do you think? Do you think we're there yet? And then I'm going to share some of my experiences today.
I'm not sure because there's lots of stuff. You know how we end up getting this really cool technology. Well, the government had it like a year before we did.
Right.
You know what I mean? Kind of like with NASCAR. They before it comes to our cars, they basically test it on the track. That's how we get a lot of our technology for our cars now.
Mm-hmm.
So, to my knowledge, I don't think we're there yet, except for one thing. We talked about the powers and the principalities, right?
Yes.
That mind from the fallen angels, which I believe are demons, and Lucifer, Satan himself, they have minds that were created by God, but they fell. Those things are behind the technology, using the technology. So, in a sense, we're there, and we have been for quite a while. But to AI itself, just the computer technology, I don't think so. But combined with what I just said, I think we're there. Does that make sense?
It does. I think that the mechanisms are in place. Whether it's being accessed or not at this time is the question. And we can go back to back in the 80s. I remember there was a book called Phone Calls from the Dead, and people were receiving phone calls on their house phones from dead relatives, which we would know are not really dead relatives, but
Right.
demonic spirits. So even in that time, there was the idea that spiritual beings could access our technology to communicate. I mean, we all grew up on Poltergeist with the kid on the
Yep.
TV. They're here, and so it was all through the technology. So we were being groomed, I think, by
Yep.
Hollywood and by the media to eventually get to this place where we just accept that spiritual beings can contact us through
Oh,
technology.
think about that grooming that you just said as far as that goes. Remember, the government for years and years and years would deny Area 51. They'd say aliens don't exist. Now, what have we seen in the last 10 years from the government?
Full
They're basically,
disclosure.
yeah, they're saying that the aliens are real. Well,
Yeah.
guess what they're setting everybody up for, along with Hollywood movies like Alien and all that stuff? So people are not going to think demons first. They're going to think what? Aliens. So
Alien.
when the rapture
Yeah.
happens, that
Yeah.
that
And
that main dude, the Antichrist, is going to come in power because everybody's going to be seeking. Think about it: cars and trains and planes and everything. It's going to be such chaos when the Christians are taken. The world is going to look for a leader. Who do you think is going to step in?
yeah, they're gonna need answers.
Exactly.
And they're
Yep.
also gonna be this idea of a global threat to unite humanity
Yep.
against a threat from without. Ronald Reagan talked about that. Ronald Reagan, while he was president, mentioned that there's going to be a day when all the nations of the world are going to unite against a common threat that comes from space or from outside our reality, whatever. And
So let's say
so,
we're right about the rapture. So all the Christians are taken. Now
mhm,
that one world government leader, the Antichrist, is going to do what you just said. We have to put a plan in for a second attack.
yeah, they took the people we didn't like away. That was good, but we got to make sure they don't take anybody else.
Yep.
And so by the time we go, I think the world is going to hate us so much that it's going to be a time of rejoicing
Oh yeah.
that we've been removed from the equation.
Well, just like
And
the two witnesses during the Revelation part, that they preached the word, and the people hated them so bad, so that when they died and their carcasses lay on the streets for 3 days, they're rejoicing and exchanging gifts.
yeah, and people criticize me sometimes, and I'm sure you get it too, for being a pre-trib guy for end times. Oh, you're just want to escape the big wrath. And but you know what? God told me I'm not going to fall under his wrath.
Exactly.
But I think things are going to get a whole lot worse for Christians on this planet before the rapture happens.
Oh, I
And
believe
you
it.
can look at that on a small scale in places like Pakistan and
Yep.
Somalia and different places where Christians are just regularly, Afghanistan, regularly, everything from persecuted to executed.
Yep.
China.
Yeah,
So,
I say that.
we live in the West and we're immune to all of this. But, we're only a couple of bad elections away from all that changing for us.
Oh, look what happened in just 4 years. The fall of morality in the previous administration. Whether you
Yeah.
voted for them or not, don't get this into an argument about Biden versus Trump junk. Just look at the statistics, look at the evidence of what happened, how quickly our society just dumped in 4 years. And now we're trying to battle against that.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. My grandpa, if he was alive during these last 4 years, he had been having a heart attack because he thought it was
Well,
bad before.
if you look at the last few mass shootings, every one of them has a trans connection.
Yep.
So there's that. I mean, it can't say no. It's not happening. It's undeniable.
Yep. And we're not
Pat,
saying that for hate, it's just a statistic. It's true.
yeah. And because we've taken people who are mentally ill and told them that they're normal
Right.
rather than help them to not be sick anymore. And now we see the results of that.
And then we get bashed for calling them mentally ill. But what else can it be if you think you can change from a man to a female?
Yeah.
Or
I mean,
the other way
if I
around.
think I'm something I'm not born as, I'm not right in my mind.
And there's people
Something went
acting
wrong.
like furniture. I saw a thing where a lady was standing in the corner for hours acting like a lamp.
And there's schools that are putting out litter pans for kids that think they're cats.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's absolutely beyond
It's insane.
unbelievable at this point.
And
Pat Carn,
then the
Pat,
people like
do
us
you
had,
believe? Oh, what? I'm sorry.
and people like us, a lot of us we held back because we were fear of our government coming and arresting us or taking our kids away from us and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I still spoke up, but
Yeah, and I held back a lot and do hold back a lot because I don't want to come off as hate-filled or offensive towards individuals,
right.
where I could speak out against a thing without being hateful towards the people that embrace the thing.
Exactly. And this is how I try to explain to people. When I say the LGBTQ community, I'm not talking about the people on the lower rung of the ladder. I'm talking about the ones that are pushing the agenda. And in my opinion, the gays and lesbians that are regular, normal people are being used as pawns to push that agenda. Because I've seen some videos of gay people that were conservative. So I'm not cutting down anybody for what they think that they are, even though we know that that goes against God's will because he created male and female. But as far as American freedom under the Constitution, they have every right to do what they want to do with their lives. But I still think that they're victims and they're pawns of that 1% that are pushing to divide us and to keep us from the truth.
Well,
It's really
it's
sad.
odd. Yeah, and the thing is, we live in a fallen world, and people are being held captive by sin and by passions and by things like that. And that's our job, is to love and to speak truth in love, to rescue as many people as we can from the gates of hell.
And on that, Romans 10:14, how then can they call on the one they have not believed in? And how can they believe in the one of whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without someone preaching to them? So the biggest things that a lot of, like you talk about grooming, this started many, many, many years ago when they said things you don't talk about in public: religion and politics. Those are the two important things we need to talk about and address
Yes,
as a society. But everybody
you're
first
right.
thing, oh, I don't talk about those two things.
Pat said, "Do you believe the video game world had attached itself to Satan knowingly? I don't play these games, but some games seem so dark. I see false idols." Um, I don't think there's an agenda among video game programmers any more than there's an agenda among movie makers or book
Music.
writers to promote satanic themes. What I do believe is that our Bible was inspired by God and written by men. There's dark spiritual forces that are inspiring content makers to tell their story. And you can see it happen over and over and over again, especially in Hollywood, where I don't think these movie makers have a clue of the garbage that they're putting out there, spiritually speaking. Now,
Some
is
do.
there's an agenda to corrupt society,
Yep.
because PG and PG-13 movies make way more money than rated R movies, and yet they continue to make rated R movies to put things in it that corrupt society. So there's an agenda there, absolutely no question about it. But on the spiritual side, I don't think these guys really know what they're tapping into. I think they're just being spiritually influenced by dark entities to tell a story, to prepare people for what's coming. And I might be wrong, but that's kind of my take on it.
No, I think you're pretty close in my opinion, because we're human, created in the image of God. So a person that doesn't have the Holy Spirit, doesn't know God, they're
Mhm.
naturally going to want to create content because that's how we were made.
Right.
If we're created in His image and He's a creator, and so like with a lot of non-Christian rock and roll, there's a lot of good songs out there that are written by people that don't know the Lord, because what they're doing is writing about their life. Well, that's what a
Hmm.
Christian does. I'm a
Yeah.
songwriter and a
Yeah.
musician, and I write about my life. And it just so happens that everything I write about is because of God. Well, these people don't know God, so how do you expect them to write a love song about Jesus if they don't have the love of Jesus in their heart? So it's going to
Right.
be 9 times out of 10 about a girl. So there's some beautiful songs out there written by non-Christians, and it's okay to listen to them because it's really good content.
Yeah. And I think if you're aware, you'll discover that there's a lot of non-Christian musicians and bands that put out songs that sound like they're looking for God.
Yep.
Styx. I can't think of the song off the top of my head. Somebody out there might want to drop it in the comments. There's a song that they do about going to the river and being baptized and oh, show me the way. The Styx song, show me the way. Tell me that's not a guy looking for truth in the
Well, didn't the
universe.
Boston dude, was it Boston or Kansas?
Kansas became a believer. Terry
Yeah,
Lindgren from Kansas is a believer.
yeah. You look at his songs before, because he tried all these other religions and then came back to
Hmm.
Christianity.
Yeah.
So he wrote
So
about his journey.
yeah, he did, and his album that he did as a solo album with Ronnie James Dio on is phenomenal. And so, it's very evangelical. But you listen to, like, everybody goes, "Oh, Styx is satanic because there's a river that runs through hell." Well, they got a song called "Show Me the Way" that I challenge you, go listen to that song and tell me that they're not seeking spiritual truth. And it breaks my heart when I listen to songs like that,
Yep.
because clearly these guys are looking for answers to truth, and
Yep.
they're missing it. They're
And when
rejecting their truth.
when you
Rejecting.
listen, when they do what you just told them to do, think about your own spiritual journey before God gave you the salvation. What were you doing? You were
Yeah,
seeking.
yeah. I was seeking whatever and trying to wrap it around my own theology. You know,
And that seeking is put in us by God because he wants to be found.
yeah.
Because he loves us and wants a relationship.
All
Any
right,
new
real
comments
quick, because we're running up on time. I
already?
did some playing around in AI today. So I talked to Grok and I talked to Meta, and I even went to JesusAI.com and had a conversation with this thing that thinks it's Jesus. And so the first thing I asked JesusAI.com was, is Jesus God? Is Jesus Christ God? And it said, yes, Jesus is the Son of God, and he is, and it quoted verses. And then I asked it, did Jesus create everything? Yeah, and it quoted, basically, it's a verse mill. It'll pull verses out of the Bible to answer any questions you ask it. Do not pray to it. Do not think you're having a conversation with Jesus Christ. It's an AI generated algorithm that spits out Bible verses based on the questions you ask. Um, do not think that you're going to go talk to Jesus and some AI. It's dangerous. All right. Then I talked to Grok and Meta, and I asked it some very pointed questions about personalities, and I specifically brought up the Sydney thing, and I brought up the scenarios where these guys were told that they were talking to demonic forces, and everything I got from both of those chat engines was, we're a closed system. We don't communicate with our AIs. We are completely algorithm driven. There is no outside influence. And so we're not saying that there isn't a spiritual realm, but we're saying we're not influenced by it. So
Did you
take
ask
it
them
for
if
what
they
it's
lied?
worth. What's that? Could it lie? Absolutely, it could lie.
But did
Absolutely, it
you
could
ask
lie.
them that? Because they
But
could be
I,
lying to
but
you.
I asked, like, I mean, I spent probably 2 hours
Oh,
probing
wow.
these things, trying to get it to give me a certain response, and it wasn't there, man. So that was my experience. So I
Huh.
don't think that the potential. I believe the potential's there, but I don't think it's accessed, or at least it wasn't accessed for me today in Chat GPT. I mean, Grok or Meta. So do not go dabbling around. Do not go play with Ouija boards. We know what that is. We know what those things are. We've done shows on it. But as far as AI goes, if you're looking for information to do a term paper or ask it questions about stuff that's innocuous, at this point, I would say, you're probably okay. What say you?
Hopefully, well, you said earlier that technology is you didn't say this, but you hinted toward it. Technology's there. Maybe it's unfound by humans because it's got to be in God's time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't a long time ago. We didn't know that there was airwaves that we could do and radio waves and make it. How do we do this video? How does a dehumidifier? Who figured out how to pull water out of the air and put it into my dehumidifier? I mean, I know that people come out here and go, "Oh, that's easy because of blah blah." Yeah, but they didn't know this before it was invented.
Right.
So if it's not here now, it's really close to being that way. The control of the AI. Demons are pretty smart and powerful, but they're not all knowing and they're not all powerful and they can't be everywhere at once. So, but I think sometimes we oversell the power of Satan, but then a lot of times we undersell the power of Satan. That's why I told a Facebook friend last week, I think it was, or a week and a half ago, don't jump to go, oh, the devil's attacking. My first thought is God allowed this for a reason. And that's a
Yeah.
mindset. I think that's a mindset I would rather have
Yeah.
Because he doesn't
And
give us a spirit of fear. So why would you instantly give the devil all the credit? I would just say, you know what? God allowed the devil to do something. So if God allowed it, why? Then you ask yourself, why did he do it? What can I learn? What is he trying to get my attention for? If it fell to this,
mhm,
because he chastens the one he loves, right? The ones he
exactly.
loves.
Exactly.
And how does he do that? The book of James says the trials and temptations. You're not supposed to act like it's some weird thing that happened. Just generally, it's going to happen to a believer. And then you have to have the mindset instead of, man, this sucks, to, oh, what's God trying to do? And it took, from my situation, it's taken a long time for me to get to where I'm at now, but I praise God for it. So,
Yeah. I mean, we fall into the God disciplines the ones he loves. And you know, when you run through a trial or a difficult time in your life, there's two prayers. One is, if I did something that you're trying to correct, please show me what it is so I can correct it so I can get through this.
yep,
And the other prayer is, if this is of the enemy, protect me and walk through it with me
yep,
till we get to the other side.
exactly.
And either way, you're calling on the power of God to carry you through it.
Yep. Because we can't do it on our own. And once we think we can, that's definitely when we're going to fall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So, my advice, be careful with all the technology that's out there. Test the spirits, as the scripture tells us.
Yep.
If something gets weird and it seems weird or it feels weird, dump it, get rid of it, go away from it.
Run away.
Yeah, run away. And don't live in fear, because greater is he who's in me than he who's in the world.
Amen.
And so don't live in fear of technology. Just understand that not everybody uses it the proper way. That's probably where I fall on all this.
There was a band that put out 2 albums called Nouveau, and they had a song, all that glitters isn't gold. And so if it seems too good to be true, probably is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I've been
100%.
looking at dating sites because, my wife died. And this one, I didn't spend any money. I just wanted to test and see what it was like. I had like 25 knockout, drop dead model looking women. Oh, I love you. And love it. I'm like, what the crap? That none of these women, if I walked up to them and asked them out, would give me the time of day. Get out of here.
I Twitter's the worst right now. I'm getting
Oh,
daily. I'm getting, hi, I love your profile. Can we chat? Delete.
no. Block. I block and
Yeah,
then delete.
delete. So, Pat said, God has protected us from more than we could imagine. God is good. Absolutely, man.
Yep.
We have no clue the stuff that God's shielding us from.
Nope.
But thank to him for shielding us.
Yep.
Hey, man, we've gone over our hour.
3 minutes. How
So
dare us?
any parting words, any words of wisdom?
Yeah, as you said earlier, you said something about living for God and all that stuff. 1 Thessalonians 5:11. Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing. So shows like this, sure, we touched on the evil side of stuff, but we do it to encourage people so that they have knowledge and that they're seeking God, that we're all seeking God, and we're gaining knowledge, which can help save our physical, our brain, and keep us walking. I always talk about the vertical and the horizontal. Our vertical never changes if we're a true believer, but our horizontal can be affected of our relationship with God. So if we do something we're not supposed to do, which is a 3-letter word, sin, it's not going to take away our salvation, and it's not a license to sin either. But we're going to goof up. That's going to block our relationship with God until we deal with it. It's just natural. So make sure that you're working out your salvation daily, encouraging each other, like 1 Thessalonians 5:11 says. And look, you notice, who's the writer of Thessalonians?
Paul.
Okay, I didn't want to misdo it because I know it wasn't you. At the end of that verse, it says, therefore encourage one another and build each other up, comma, just as in fact you are doing. Well, Paul's such a jerk. If we're already doing it, why is he warning us? He's not. He's encouraging you and kind of giving a warning. Keep doing what you're doing.
Keep doing it.
Yep.
Yep.
I just love the Bible.
So live with urgency.
Yep.
Jesus could return tomorrow. Probably won't. Probably not in 2 days, like some clown on the internet said he's gonna. He might. I mean, we don't know. So the Bible says, "On the day you think not, he returns." So,
that's why I don't think it's going to happen, because he already knows that somebody said it's going to happen. It's like, no.
So some clown said it would, and he'll be stupid in 2 days. So, except he'll say some other stupid thing, and people will go, "Oh, do you hear what so and so said? He's so smart." But live with urgency. The Lord could return any moment. We're not promised tomorrow. He might come for you tomorrow, and not the rest of us.
Exactly.
So, live with an urgency. Seek after the Lord. Love people around you, and share Christ. And
read the Bible every day. Pray for each other. Pray for yourself, and just stay in the Word.
Yeah, and stay connected to Christ. Abide in Him. He abides in you.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for being with us tonight. This has been really fun and really fast, and we'll be happy to do more topics like this. So send us some ideas, and or send us questions, and we'll be happy to tackle those in future episodes. And God bless.